Hey guys, what's up? It's Greg Srzavosty with the Find Your Film podcast. I have a very good movie for you guys to watch this weekend. Actually, a lot of you won't be able to see it this weekend, but please put this movie on your radar. The movie is called Forge. For this installment, I have interviews with Forge filmmaker Jing Ai Ng. Very talented filmmaker. This is her first film. You will be seeing more from her. Okay, this is one of these things where put this director in your mental back pocket because she will be making more films thanks to the success. The movie hasn't even come out yet, but it received a lot of acclaim during its festival run, and the movie is a real calling card for future films she wants to make. And I think this is pretty much a no-brainer. This will get her really in the door to make bigger films. And she even addresses that in the interview. Okay, so she even agrees that this is a very good calling card for her as a filmmaker. But most importantly, for you guys, it's a very good movie. So don't worry about calling cards and whatnot. Just enjoy Forge, and I'll get to what it's about in a second. The second interview is with actors Andie and Brandon Suhu. They play brother and sister. The plot of Forge is, yes, brother and sister. Coco is a sister. Raymond is a brother. They are forgers. They are thieves, crooks, criminals, but they're hardworking. And yes, they're trying to make ends meet. It does not make things okay that they are swindling people from their money. The thing with Coco is she is a very good, very talented art forger, and she appreciates these artists in her own way, where she can make dead on just forgeries of these masterworks. And that will hopefully get them a lot more money down the road, especially when they team up with this millionaire who has his grandfather's paintings need to be resurrected because he destroyed them. His mansion, which he inherited from his grandfather, flooded, I believe, the basement, and all of these works are destroyed. So what happens is Coco Zhang, she starts recreating these paintings, and hopefully that they won't be caught. That's why this is called a, quote, colorful Miami art crime caper. Initially, I believe this movie was not set in Miami, and I think Jing was raised in Miami or spent a lot of time in Miami as well. That's why this is a very personal place for her. I forgot what the original setting of the movie is. For the first set of interviews with Jing, she really focuses on her collaboration with Film Independent, I believe, Screenwriters Lab, and she talks about the genesis of Forge and how that helped her as a screenwriter and helped her finish the project. And then she goes on and talks about how she believes Andie, the lead in this movie as Coco, is a true movie star. And I bounced that question or that remark back to Andie in my interview with her and Brandon. All right. And then also, Jing is very interesting because she also talks about how she was influenced by movies like William Friedkin's To Live and Die in L.A., Bill Duke's, what was that movie by Bill? Oh, yeah, Bill Duke's Deep Cover. By the way, I still haven't seen Deep Cover. I did not want to admit that during the interview, but that's a movie I really, really want to see. And of course, Bill Duke is a very underrated filmmaker. I don't have IMDb. Did he direct Hoodlum? I forgot I believe if he did direct Hoodlum, that's a movie that I find to be very, very underrated, a very fun film. I'm going to look that up right now regarding Bill Duke. A lot of you Bill Duke for his work as an actor because, of course, Predator, right? Yeah, I go on IMDb, the first thing you see, Bill Duke, Predator, but he's also an actor, director, producer, legendary artist. Now let's see what Bill Duke has directed. I believe, did he do Hope Floats? This is on my little brain that I'm looking before I go on IMDb. I'm on IMDb right now. Bill Duke, he's directed so many films over the years. And let's see, back in the day, she was mentioning Deep Cover. Let's see. Oh, I'm looking at his acting stuff. My bad, folks. Let me look over at his director stuff. Yeah, he has 65 directing credits. It's amazing. But in 90, I think he did 92. He directed Deep Cover. And Jing Ai Ng, she mentions that movie as an influence for Forge. Yes, Bill Duke also did A Rage in Harlem, which I thought was underrated as well. He did Sister Act 2 back in the Habit. I did that press junket. And I've never seen The Cemetery Club from 93. I believe that was directed by Olympia Dukakis. the reason why I remember Hoodlum is because I did that press junket back in 97. I think I remember doing a radio roundtable with Bill Duke. Saw that movie, epic film of its day, and I think upon a rewatch, I think it stars also Lawrence Fishburne, who starred in Deep Cover, but Hoodlum, right now on IMDb, it has a 6.3 rating. That's a movie that I definitely want to rewatch because I remember watching Hoodlum at a screening room thinking, flawed film, but I really enjoyed it. And when that movie came out, if I recall, it was not a big blockbuster of its day. And maybe almost 30 years later, definitely needs a rewatch and a reevaluation. I believe that's a very underrated film. Okay. So we'll get to that in a second. But Jing, she mentions Bill Duke for Deep Cover. She mentioned Bill Duke for Deep Cover. Also, she mentions William Friedkin's To Live and Die in LA as influences. But I also bring up Michael Mann and his movies Thief and what was the other movie? And Heat, because there is a specific diner sequence or restaurant sequence with Kelly Marie Tran. She plays an FBI agent who's on the hunt for the criminals, the art forgery criminals, and she's the one who is the good person who's trying to track the culprits down. But she has a very interesting monologue about water lilies that reminded me of the Tuesday Weld and James Caan scene in Thief, which, if you've never seen it, it's an iconic getting to know you scene between two people on their first date. And it's my favorite scene in a restaurant, even over the Heat restaurant or meeting scene between Pacino and De Niro. The conversation between Tuesday Weld and yeah, and James Caan, amazing stuff in Thief. If you've never seen it, if you're a fan of Tuesday Weld or James Caan, you need to see Thief. All that said, if you are a Michael Mann fan, Forge might appeal to you because even though it's not as big as a Michael Mann movie regarding budget, it is as ambitious as his movies within the budget scale that they had. And Kelly Marie Tran knocks that monologue about water lilies out of the park. And it's a standout sequence in the film. That said, Forge is a very interesting movie because a lot of the main character is Asian, and there's a lot of Asian actors in this movie, but it's a very cool thing because in the interview, Jing was saying that when she was trying to cast a lead actress, there were only three main bankable lead Asian actresses that she could take this project to. And she wanted Forge to be a way to cast someone new. And that new person is Andie Ju. And she gives a great performance in this movie. Jing said she's a movie star. You'll get to hear her reactions regarding Andie Ju's performance in the interview. And yeah, I really enjoyed Forge. I'm going to really talk about the movie. I think Eric Holmes saw it as well. I'll be discussing more about why I really enjoyed Forge on this week's Cinematics. But let me stop blabbering. Let's get to these back-to-back interviews. First up, you're going to have Jing Ai Ng. And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name, but I'm horrible at this. But she's a very interesting talent to watch, does a really great job with Forge. I'm surprised this is her first full-length feature. Very good stuff. And then stay tuned for the interview with Andie Ju and Brandon Suhu. Very good stuff with them as well. Really good movie, Forge. And yeah, it's great that it's representation of Asian artists and actors and all that stuff. But I think the most important part for me, selfishly as a cinephile, is it really works as a movie. My hope is this movie gets momentum. It's only playing starting May 15th at the New Art Theater. And then, like I think I said this in the intro, May 22nd in New York's Quad Cinema. So there will be, I'm assuming they're going out to these cities for some Q&As, and they're going to have a gradual rollout. And I think most of you won't be able to see Forge until it hits maybe digital or streamers. But once it does, I hope it gains a ton of momentum. It already has momentum from the festival circuit, but I really want to see more Forge movies with Andie and Brandon returning and reprising their characters in subsequent movies. I just hope that happens. I'm crossing my fingers, whether it's next year, the next 2 years, or even 10 years from now. but really I'm looking forward to a Forge 2. Both interviews have a discussion about the possible sequels for Forge. All right, so that is it for this installment for Find Your Film. Oh, also, lastly, I wanted to mention about the movie picks for Find Your Film. And I apologize, I'm about to cough, but Jing's Find Your Film pick, one of her all-time favorite movies, she's talking about The Social Network. That's one movie recommendation. Another movie recommendation is from Brandon's own resume. He recommends Teen Titans, The Judas Contract. I believe it's, Teen Titans, The Judas Contract. I'll leave a link where you can get those movies in the show notes as well. All right, enough blabbing for me. Talk to you guys soon. And thanks for supporting the Find Your Film podcast. Most importantly, support indie cinema and very awesome movies. Track down Forge when it hits your local theater, or follow the movie on Instagram or whatnot, and just breathe some momentum, continued momentum into this movie. Really, really love Forge. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Jing, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too, Greg.
Really love the film, but first off, I want to get a correction. Can you please say your entire name so when I do it on the podcast as an intro, I don't screw it up?
Yes, it's Jing Ai Ng.
Again, pleasure to meet you. Love the film. Now, I want to ask straight off, the idea of finishing a screenplay, at least to someone like me who's always scared of things, is very insurmountable. Can you just talk about finishing that script and what was the biggest challenge and how important was Film Independent along that process?
Oh, so this is a great story because I graduated from film school in December 2019, and I had a thesis film called Flick that did really well, and it won an award right out of school. And I remember sitting in the theater and screening it for everyone, and it was a beautiful experience. That was December 2019. So you can feel what's coming up next. And so that was the last time that film ever played in the theater. It went to festivals, but we were in the pandemic. And so everything was over Zoom. My entire life was over Zoom at that point. And I had a feeling that I was going to quit. And I had just spent 2 years at the AFI Conservatory studying directing. And I was just in this mindset of, okay, are we ever going to recover from this? Sure, the pandemic might be over, but it feels like the community I knew and the spaces I held sacred at one point, like the movie theater, weren't going to exist anymore. And so to answer your question, I wrote Forge as a Hail Mary effort, thinking to myself, if I could make anything I wanted to make and I wasn't going to wait, what would it be? And Forge was the answer to that. And I submitted it blind to the Film Independent Lab, and they graciously took me. I did not know a single person at Film Independent, and to this day, I still credit that lab with being the reason why I kept going. And yes, it's important to internally keep going, but what I recognize now is that it's important to have those supporters and to have programs like Film Independent and nonprofits that support young artists, because I think motivation and external validation are linked in some capacity, and I think it's dishonest to say it's not. So it felt like a sign to have support from them.
Is part of that support not having a bunch of yes people saying, great job, keep moving forward, but looking at your script and saying, okay, well, I like this, but here is where I'm coming from? Is a part of that growth for you as a filmmaker and storyteller accepting that criticism, or maybe more importantly, that insight into your own work?
Yes, absolutely. I think criticism is super important. I'm maybe one of the few filmmakers I know that really likes reading criticism on, not for my own movies, but just in general. I love a long form criticism article or just anything about film, or to be honest, media. I just like reading. That was sort of my background. I studied English and creative writing when I was an undergrad, and so I have a love for that discourse as well. And I think it's important also important for a filmmaker to get their motivation from criticism, but I think it's also important for keeping the art form alive, to be honest. Yeah.
So Forge can be seen as a really interesting forgery art thriller on a superficial level, and that's fine. You can enjoy the movie as that, but it's also about how one person perceives themselves within the world, not just through art, but through their own culture and through their own upbringing, and where do they want to go from here? Was that always the intent when you wanted to make the film that you wanted to make, or did it evolve as the story evolved along with you?
The story definitely evolves. So the inspiration from Forge, I'm a bit of a white collar fanatic. You can say it, white collar crime fanatic. I really love white collar crime as sort of a way to study what is going on in a society. I think it really reflects what the American rat race is in a lot of cases. And I'm talking American white collar crime, although there's white collar crime everywhere, let's be real. And I came to that because I found an article on Wikipedia about a extended family member who had gone to jail for quite some time for white collar crime. And I found this Wikipedia article when I was 15, and no one in my family had ever mentioned it. And in that moment, it felt like I had this perfect Asian family, and the next moment it felt like I didn't. And it completely shattered my perception of what we were. And so I always knew I was writing Forge with the idea of the model minority in mind and like my experience with that, because it turned out to be so false in my case. Oh, that isn't true. And yes, that is a very small reckoning to have, but it was definitely impactful. And so like I knew I loved these crime movies. I think I would cite probably like To Live and Die in LA as an inspiration. And I also love this other film, Deep Cover. Not the 2024 version, but then I think it's like 1993 or something. Bill Duke. I love that movie. So I love like a campy crime film. And I thought to myself, okay, how do I meld like my feelings on white collar crime and the model minority myth with this genre that I love? And that is Forge. And it didn't always used to be set in Miami. It didn't always have the same main characters, but through the Film Independent Writing Lab, I was able to workshop that and get closer to what I wanted.
And you mentioned Bill Duke, William, rest in peace, William Friedkin. I want to
Yeah.
ask about Michael Mann. I'm a huge Michael Mann fan, and
Yeah.
there's a couple of iconic sequences in his movies where I think there's a diner sequence in Thief, and there's
Yeah.
that great sequence in Heat. Wondering, and I'm overshooting here. Tell me if I'm overshooting. There's a sequence where just does a terrific monologue about water lilies. Was that ever in your mind? Because I just thought that was such a beautifully rendered scene, and it really dovetails into how we perceive art and what means so much in our lives as well. It just seemed like such a personal sequence.
Yes, of course, absolutely. Like I feel like how can you get away from being influenced by Michael Mann? He's iconic, right? And yes, to answer your question, that monologue definitely was influenced by that. I think about it a lot of the time, but all these characters that I grew up loving in crime movies, a lot of them were men, right? And I never really get to see women in those roles. And I wanted to give Kelly's character that moment too. So yes, to answer your question, it was definitely influenced by that.
I also, can you speak without giving too much away, Coco's character? Because a lot of times these type of protagonists, we get to know all of their feelings, just all their motivations, and you let us as the viewer give our own interpretations on who she is by keeping a lot of stuff in. Can you just talk about developing that very mysterious character? You know some of her motivations, but it's not, refreshingly not all laid out for you to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I always approached the film as I wanted Coco's character to be the main mystery. And I know that's maybe a dangerous place to write a protagonist from, but I also think in many ways we have so many films going back to the female and male characters. We have so many films where the male protagonist or anti-hero is this character where we don't quite understand their motivations, or your motivations are super twisted and we can't reconcile that. And I wanted Coco to be in that vein, very much so. And funnily enough, I do see that the response I get from women to Coco's character is rewarding, to say the least. It has been my favorite part of the process screening this movie, is seeing how young and old women respond to Coco.
That is so awesome. And selfishly, I really am so sad that maybe there won't ever be a Forge 2. In your what you're talking about a body of work, you're wanting to craft a body of work. Do you ever see yourself maybe years down the road possibly returning to this character? Because you mentioned Ripley, and I mean, Highsmith went on for quite a bit with that, but wondering where you are. Where do you stand on that now and maybe even later?
I would always love to do a sequel. When I wrote the ending, I wrote, like I said, I was in a state of mind where I was like, if I could write anything I wanted to write, which is not, if there are not many things to be grateful for during a pandemic, but the one thing it did make me feel was like, okay, if I was going to do anything I wanted to do, what would it be, right? And I wanted to write a series of Art Forger movies, and so Forge was the first one. Selfishly, I would love to keep directing them.
Oh, that I'm so excited that you're saying that. But okay, so final couple questions is just wondering now with the success of your movie, with the festival circuit and it's coming out, and I'm guessing you're just going to get a lot of, I'm just projecting a lot of offers, and it's just it's a great film, but it's a great calling card. What is the challenge for you moving forward? Because I'm sure this one you might get your share of possible projects to direct, but you're also a writer. Is it an exciting time or is it also a challenging time for you as a filmmaker?
It's actually a really exciting time. I think while I am a writer director, I actually do see myself as a director first. And I think if I could direct other people's scripts, I do not think I'm the best writer out there. I would love to. And that's the truth. I wrote out of necessity and also because I had something in me that I wanted to say this time. But I do think, like you're saying, a body of work, I would love to work with other writers and find scripts that I connect to. The challenge I see moving forward is, you're right, Forge is a great calling card, but as a director, I actually do have a lot of range in the sense that Forge is the first crime movie I've made. It's definitely the largest and loudest movie I've made. I would love to direct a romantic period drama at some point, and I'm not sure if Forge is the right calling card for that. So I would love to not just stay in one lane in my career. I would really like to touch other genres as well.
How can you say it's not a great calling card? You're making it, you made a star out of Andie, I think. How awesome is it to, when you're looking at on the edit, just to see how it's just magnetic. Did you know right from the jump that you would get this performance from her? It's fantastic.
Well, we had something super rare, which is we had the opportunity to do a completely open casting call for our movie, with me having the final say in who was cast. And that is not an experience that a director really gets often in their career. Usually you're working for ages before you get the opportunity. And it begs the question, usually people get their movies financed by attaching actors to their films, right? But if you want to make a character that's Asian American, your lead, and you have to attach an actor, there are maybe three people in the entire world that could get your movie financing. So it becomes this feedback loop of how do we create more Asian American movie stars and get more Asian American movies made without having that body of actors that we can call to. And yes, so part of my intention with the open casting call was to find someone like Andie, who is undeniably a movie star. And I think everyone can see that. I am so happy. Hate or love the movie, I will say that I think Andie is a star and everyone can see that. And she should be given an opportunity to shine. It is both her lead role, first time as a lead in the movie, and also Brandon, who has been working since he was 8 years old. This is his first lead role in a movie. And they read against thousands of people. We saw people all over the country. So we knew we had to find our Coco and Raymond, and this was what we turned up with, and I'm so grateful for it.
And final question before we go. Thank you for your time, by the way. Kelly mentioned that she really appreciated how your attention to detail and how great of a researcher you are. On that note, would love, and this is very hard, right off the top of your head, can you pick one of your all-time favorite movies, a movie where you go back to and you find different notes, just like your own film, you can find different notes. What's that movie that keeps on giving for you and why?
For me, it's The Social Network. I think it is an extremely detailed movie, both in terms of the script and also in terms of directing. And what's crazy to me is that movie was made in a time where we weren't thinking about Facebook and tech as these giant powerhouses. In many ways, I guess you could call it an origin story. A lot of people would call it the origin story of our time. And I just think about how much intricate research was done between the book, the screenplay, and the film that could create something that is so prescient. It just takes so much research to be able to understand something that is not yet at the forefront of everyone's minds, but it's going to dictate everyone's lives in the future. And so I think about that movie a lot, about how it like preemptively called attention to a lot of the things that we are dealing with now in today's world.
Jing, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to Forge 2 down the road whenever that comes, and pleasure speaking with you.
Yes, pleasure speaking with you too. Thank you, Greg.
Okay, so I'm with Andie and Brandon. Great film, Forge. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good, man. Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys. First off, just the festival circuit. What has that energy been like for you guys? I'm sure each of you have been through the circuit. What has the reception been like and just that overall experience promoting and spotlighting Forge?
It's been so good. It's been so fun. We all really enjoy hanging out with each other, so it's just fun to go and see. It's been a really good reception, really warm. We went to, I can't, Deauville?
Deauville?
Yeah, we went to a film festival in France, and it was really cool because we were like walking down these giant stairs, and the theater was filled with people. And then as we're walking down, we see one Asian family on the side, and we were like, ah, and then they were like, ah. So it was like really great to feel that energy and that warmth and even that kinship, even from just having that support there. And so it's been really great. Yeah.
You can totally get that. No worries.
Is that pizza? Did you order pizza?
Yeah.
I'm totally hungry. Yeah. No worries. That's great sound.
To you, Brandon?
Yeah, it's crazy. In France, we found the only other Asian family in the city, and they were giving us so much love. And we're like, we see you. Thanks for coming. But yeah, like Andie was saying, it's been like super cool just to go around and talk about this film and hearing all the great reception from the people that have watched it. And yeah, just hanging out with this team has been lovely. And getting to travel around is always really cool. We went to a beautiful city in France. We went to Austin. We're going to be in New York soon. So yeah, as much as we can shout about this movie from the rooftops, we're going to keep on doing it because we love the project.
And it deserves all the flowers.
Speaking of deserving all the flowers, towards the end of our interview, Jing was saying that, Andie, you're pretty much a bona fide movie star. And she said, no matter whether you love or dislike Forge, you can't deny that. How does that make you feel? I'm sure you've heard it around the run, but she just said you're a bona fide movie star.
That is, yeah, I don't see, I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I'm like speechless because I respect Jing and look up to just the fact that she wrote the script and that she has done all the work that she's done so far and has made Forge. She is truly a force to be reckoned with and an amazing, I'm so happy and honored that she's a part of our community, and because she is able to tell these stories and have these real characters and represent us in a way that feels honest and that has true love behind the way that she tells her stories and what characters she chooses to tell these stories with. So to hear that she thinks that I'm a star I can't even take it in, but it's obviously something that makes me really happy to hear.
Yeah, it's hard for you to take it in, but did you ever think you'd ever get to this place where you're the headliner of your own film? On top of that, you're being directed by a very talented filmmaker. On top of that, the movie's awesome. I mean, Did you ever feel you get to that spot?
No, to be honest, no. So obviously it's something that you dream about, and I could have never, even in my daydreams, could I have ever thought, oh, I would be in a film such as this, where it's so original and the characters are so rich and real and it really takes you for a ride. And I never was able to imagine I would be a part of telling this story. So it was really surreal. I was really lucky. And then getting to work with such an amazing cast with such as Brandon and Edmund Donovan and Kelly Marie Tran. Come on. It was just a dream come true.
On the topic of giving flowers, Brandon, Jing also said that you've been really working hard since you were 8. People who are ignorant were going to say, "Oh, that's the kid from Tropic Thunder. He was so amazing. He's going to have a great career." It's nothing. That these are people who don't understand. What are we not seeing as far as your work ethic, your passion for acting and martial arts, and how has that fed you to the person you are today? And then also, you have a great role in this in Forge as well. It must mean a lot to you personally.
It absolutely does, man. I mean, every single time I get to work on a really special project, I'm just like, it feels surreal to me. Even from the very first project that I got to do, like you mentioned, when I was younger, it still feels surreal to me back then, and it still does. Yeah, I'm just incredibly lucky to continue to work on awesome projects, and yeah, to work on awesome new talent like Andie, who is so modest and humble with her skills and her ethic. And I thought it was really it's so funny when you tell her that she's a star. She's so quick to even pivot back to like uplifting other people's work and other people's career. But it's so cool to just work with Andie. Andie's awesome. So no, hold that, Andie. Take
Oh
it.
my God, I
You
know.
really are sick.
I'm like struggling.
I know, but I'm like, you just embrace it. You're sick. But yeah, it is honestly, I'm continuing to be grateful and shocked every day that I get to have these opportunities. And yeah, I'm super thankful to be able to tell stories like this and for people to have such great reception to it. And acting and martial arts my whole life have gone hand in hand. They both require so much dedication, and I feel like yeah, I think they both feed each other a lot, and in turn, they both feed me in my livelihood. So I give it all up to acting and martial arts in my life.
Yeah, with that, Brandon, with that focus and that dedication, can a part of you understand where Raymond's coming from? Because he is very flawed. He has his vices, but there are a lot of people who fall into these vices and they have no work ethic. He works really hard to defend that part of him. But how did you see him overall as a fully fleshed, flawed individual?
Yeah, he's such a capable person, and it's just so unfortunate that he wasn't really meant for, I guess, the roles that society cut out for him. But like you were saying, he is capable of doing so much. It just how happens to be that the things that he was really good at were not maybe more in the morally gray area of things. But yeah, it goes to show that he really was trying to be the best person he could be, to hit the face for his family, to take care of the people around him. And
I want to defend my brother for a second, though, because yeah, hold on.
I know what you're gonna say.
Like, I just feel, yes, like people can see these vices that he has, and see the story and the choices that both our characters make, and see them as like flawed or bad. But another part of me is like looking at people in corporate America, like, not to make it like a whole thing, but there are people out there that are also like still doing these things, but is not being framed in that way, or are getting away with it, or would be doing the same thing if they did not have the opportunities that they had, which was not available to Raymond. Does that kind of make sense? I don't
100%.
know. Not to
It's true. It is such like a complex thing. While these things are like portrayed as crime and legally they are illegal things, but
Yeah.
there are plenty of people doing like things that are like above board through like legal loopholes that are just as immoral or in morally gray areas as what like Raymond and Coco are doing. It just so happens to be that these people are a little bit more like down on their luck, so they get the short end of the stick.
Totally. Can I also one more defense for my brother here? Because
Give me all of them. Give me all the defense.
I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm the only one who can talk shit about my brother. Not to insinuate that that's what you were doing, Greg.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
100%, 100%, 100%.
But like, also, children of immigrants, they see their families, like their parents kind of like come up, and obviously there are different levels to it, but I think that there is something about when you see your family kind of struggle, you don't have the same opportunity to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go off and I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to go off and I'm going to live somewhere else, and I'm going to do an internship, and I'm going to go to school somewhere else, and like, y'all are good. Like, I feel like there is that familial tie where it's like I feel like Raymond would kill it on Wall Street or Silicon Valley or what have you. And had he had the opportunity to not be not held back, but a familial tie which he felt like he had to stay home for, he would have thrived and done all the things. And that's what I think was so great about Jing's story is there are so many factors that it's like you can't, it's still like a roller coaster in my brain when I think about it, because it's, yeah, but this and this. And also the fact that I feel like it's universal. I feel like there are other people out there that understand this so well. I'll stop talking now.
No worries.
My time.
Never actually stop.
No. Without giving too much away, Jing was saying that this is just maybe a possible trilogy. This is just the first installment. So without spoilers, where do you see each of your characters going? Maybe where would you like to see your character go in the sequel without obviously giving too much away regarding the third act?
Without giving away too much about the third act.
You think Brandon, your character's a little bit more family first in the, let's just say that, in the follow-up a little bit more? Where do you see it?
I think so. I think my character is definitely looking out for the family. Yeah, maybe there are like other avenues that Raymond did want to pursue, like outside of the underworld, but maybe it's so embedded within his character that it maybe eventually pulls him back in. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see like where both of these characters are after the third act, but yeah, only time will tell when we see the next installment.
For sure. I think that it would be really interesting to see where Coco's ambition and her relentlessness to chase this ambition takes her, and what journey it takes her on in regards to the lessons that she would learn from certain circumstances or what have you. That's all I think would be. And also, yeah, no, I can't say anything else because I don't want to ruin it.
And finally, thank you guys so much for your time. After watching Forge, people will want to see some of each of your body of work. And I'm wondering, from each of your resumes, is there an underrated project that you would like our listeners to see, and why? Brandon, let's start off with you as far as underrated stuff that you've done.
Underrated. I really have a lot of fun doing voice stuff. And I don't know if maybe a ton of people know about the animated projects that I've worked on, but I don't even know if it's fair to say that this is an underrated project because it is a known IP. But Teen Titans was one of my favorite projects that I got to do, and I'm super stoked about it. It was the animated universe feature films, and I think maybe Judas Contract was my favorite that I did. So if you guys like Teen Titans and cartoons, please check that out because I had a lot of fun doing it.
Dude, I love Teen Titans. I can't believe we haven't talked about this yet, but I felt like my show. Oh my God, I love Teen Titans.
It was so fun. Greg Sipes did the original Beast Boy. All credits to him. I just got to also step into that role, but just trying to uphold the platform that Greg Sipes already built.
You have definite Beast Boy energy. They cast it right.
I feel that.
And for myself, I don't know. I don't know if my body of work isn't as large as Brandon's. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I really have an answer to that. I feel like everything that just go watch everything. Give all the directors and all the other actors the flowers. I don't want to say one specific thing because I'm feeling the Libra guilt of, but then like I don't want to make it seem like, oh, these other projects aren't good that I worked on, whatever. They are all equally, go check them all out.
We didn't think that. Go watch all of them.
Yeah, like when I ask me in 25 years. And I'm like,
Thank you guys so much for your time. Are you guys so surprised at the success of Forge on the circuit? That momentum? Did you guys always think it was gonna just be a banger, pretty much?
yes.
Honestly, I was like, this is gonna hit. People are gonna like this.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite things I got to do in a while. So I was like, I'd be surprised if not some people resonated with it because I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, same here. Although I will say, the leading up to and before you see it, you have so many thoughts of, oh, I could have done this better, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you always know it, but then to see the actual response and to hear it and feel it is always a different thing. Reading the script, I just knew this is gonna be so good because it already is so good. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, I love Forge. Appreciate you both. And Brandon, I hope you have Andie hanging out with you a lot more because she's a great sister / bodyguard. So you got to have her. She's got your back, man. So that's all I'm saying.
It really does.
I
Yeah.
do.
I feel protected.
Yeah, man.
You guys take care. Thank you so much.
That would be great.